Now, as per reports, an Aegon the Conquest series is coming, and it's basically gonna be how the Targaryens first came to Westeros and conquered it, with Aegon and his two sisters and their three dragons, including Balerion and Vhagar. Now, this has the potential to be a great series, but I am a little worried considering what they're doing in House of the Dragon right now. I mean, House of the Dragon, the story doesn't actually last that long. The exciting parts, at least. And because of that, they want to make as many seasons as possible. And so they kind of end up stretching season 2 out unnecessarily. I mean, it was stretched out so much that there was barely anything in there that we actually wanted to see. And most of it just could have been a monologue, and we wouldn't been fine with it. Honestly, there was only two things that were interesting that happened in the season. One was the obvious one, the fight between Meleys and Sunfire and Vhagar. But even that fight ended pretty quickly. And then there was what happened to Aegon's son, as Daemon sent the Ratcatchers to get revenge on them, on the Greens, for what happened to Rhaenyra's son. And other than that, there was nothing there. Now, from what I know about the original Conquest in the Game of Thrones universe, it probably doesn't take that long for Aegon to conquer all of Westeros. I mean, from what I know, Aegon and his two sisters show up to Westeros from Dragonstone with their dragons, and they manage to gather an army that's led by their hand, Aegon's hand. What was his name? I think it was Boris Baratheon or Horus Baratheon. Anyway, it's a Baratheon who's allegedly the half brother of Aegon. Spoilers. And they show up to Westeros, and a lot of the kingdoms end up bending the knee, as there were a lot of kingdoms there, and a couple of kingdoms ended up fighting them. And Aegon and his three dragons just ended up wiping them all out by just setting them all on fire, and they were defeated instantly. So Aegon didn't really have any challenge when it comes to conquering Westeros. I mean, the Starks showed up from the north, and by the time they got there, they saw what was happening. The dragons burning all their enemies, and the Stark King, I think it was Torrent Stark, just ended up bending the knee to save his people. And that was pretty much it. Everyone just bent the knee really quickly. I mean, the only ones who actually resisted them was Dawn. And there was a bit of a small fight or war or something going after the Conquest to get Dawn, but it wasn't really successful. But in the end, they got Dawn through other means. But yeah, overall, this sounds like a series that could just end in one season. I mean, that's all I honestly see happening there. I mean, how could they really stretch it out? I mean, one episode, I suppose Aegon would decide to go take Westeros, and then him and his sisters decide to go out and find, create the map of Westeros, and then carve it into Dragonstone, the table in Dragonstone. And the next episode, they could probably gather the army, and then send warning to all the other kings to bend the knee or something. And then the next episodes could just end up being them going to Westeros and small battles breaking out, and other kings and all bending the knee. I mean, if you think about it, it only needs one season. There's much you can do to stretch the whole thing out. I mean, that was the problem with House of the Dragon, and it had a lot of stuff going on, but still, it honestly didn't have more than 3 seasons in it. So the Conquest series, if it ends up being too stretched out, that's a problem, because people have a real issue with the Game of Thrones universe right now. For what happened in the seventh and eighth season of Game of Thrones was a disaster. Nobody liked it. It was widely hated. And then House of the Dragon was kind of a redemption moment when the first season came out, because they did things really well, and it had a complete story, so people were a bit confident. But then they ended up dragging season 2 out for no reason after we waited a long time to get season 2. And apparently the next season we're going to be getting in 2026, I think. Yeah, that's a new trend of seasons being dragged out for 2 years. You have to wait 2 years to get a new season of anything. I don't really understand that. I mean, by the time the new season comes out, won't people just end up forgetting it? And then the new season came out, and it was such a boring season that, I mean, people had a lot of problems with it, to say the least. So Aegon the Conquest series, I'm not sure how they're gonna pull that off and create multiple seasons, because they're gonna want to make multiple seasons and make it last at least 2 or 3 years. I think they probably want at least 3 years, but I don't see anywhere close to being 3 years available in that thing. I mean, I suppose they could drag out the first season by just Aegon having his dream, him deciding, him going to visit all, setting warnings to all the kings, and then them preparing to go to war at the end of season 1, and season 2 the war actually happening, and by the end of it they conquer Westeros. But that's it. 2 seasons is all they got at the most, and even if they do it that way, the first season is going to be really boring. It's just going to be a lot of politics and people just talking and going to places and nothing really happening. It's just going to be establishing characters for an whole season. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. And honestly, yeah, there really isn't much to do. I mean, the Dawn thing, they could use that for season 3 or something, but just for them focusing on one small part of Westeros after they conquered it all, and just having a dragged out battle for a long time, that seems a little bit boring. I mean, well, the one twist is one of his sisters ends up dying, so that's something, but it's not really enough to make a whole season. I mean, Rhaenys died in the middle of season 2, and that was nowhere near enough to save the season. So this is a huge problem that they're gonna have to deal with, and I'm not so sure how they're gonna do it. I mean, I guess one way they could do it is make it into 5-episode seasons, but I don't think people would be happy with just 5 episodes. That would just seem frustrating. And then having to wait 2 years to get another 5 episodes. Yeah, people might end up losing interest because of that. And they might just avoid it and end up binge watching it when it comes out, whatever, a decade later or something. So that's a problem, and studios need people to watch these releases as they come to make as much money as possible and to keep the franchise relevant and get the information out. So yeah, they have a serious problem, and I'm not sure how they're going to do it other than dragging the seasons out, and that could be the opposite of what they actually need. I mean, that could completely disinterest people. So let's wait and see, I guess.